Good morning to all you awesome people. I welcome you all on our YouTube channel JPSC Simplified. Let's crack JPSC. So, in the earlier classes, we have completed the Santhal Pargana Tenancy Act of 1949 under the Land Acts of Jharkhand, and in today's lecture, we are going to start with the CNT Act, that is Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act of 1908. So before starting the CNT Act in detail, let's see the introduction portion. Okay, so what happened that in 1765, the Britishers got Diwani rights over Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Okay, in 1769, under Captain Kamak. So under whom? Under Captain Kamak, British entry into Bengal took place. Okay, from Chota Nagpur king, they took administrative power in the year between 1769 and 1799. That in 1799, taxes were payable to the collector of Chatra, and in case of non-payment, the land was sold. So people resisted against this provision of the Britishers. Okay, and what happened thereon we will see now. Between 1765 and 1789, what were the steps for tax collection? See, collectors were appointed in districts. Headquarter was Murshidabad. Officials named Amil. Very important point this one. Officials named Amil were appointed for surveillance of the district. So a question might be asked to you in the examination that for the purpose of tax collection in the Chota Nagpur area, what was the name of the official who was appointed for surveillance of the district? So it was Amil. Okay, so remember this fact. And that is the collectors, they were appointed in the district, and the overall headquarter was in Murshidabad. Okay, now the next fact that you should remember is that British sold lands in case of non-repayment of loans to zamindars from Bengal, Bihar, Odisha and UP, that we had seen in the earlier slide, that if there was non-payment of taxes, Britishers used to sell the land of the of the tenants to the zamindars from Bengal, Bihar, Odisha and UP. Now this angered the people and they started resistance against the Britishers, and the result of this anger in the people was the Coal Rebellion of 1831 and 32. Coal Rebellion, we will study this in detail when we will study the tribal revolts of Jharkhand. Okay, so here you just remember that due to the selling of land by the Britishers to the Jamindars in case of non-payment of loans, Coal Rebellion took place. Britishers were forced to carry out administrative correction. So as a result of the Coal Rebellion, the Britishers were forced to carry out administrative corrections. Now let's see what type of administrative corrections took place. For identification of Bhuihari land, that is Orao tribes land, is known as the Bhuihari land, and Majhias land, that is the Jamindar's land. So this two fact is very important. See, the Orao's land was known as Bhuihari land and the Jamindar's land was known as Majhias land. Okay, so for identification of Bhuihari land and Majhias land, land survey under Babu Rakhal Das Haldar took place from the year 1862 to 1869. So you remember this, that under whom the survey, that is the land survey, took place between 1862 to 1869. So under Babu Rakhal Das Haldar. So remember the name. And in the year 1879, Chota Nagpur Land and Tenant Procedure Act was passed. In the year 1897, Bengal Tenancy Act was passed. And in the year 1902, first survey took place, and that survey was named as Traverse Survey. And again, second survey took place, and that survey was named as Cadastral Survey. And these are very important points. That is, the first survey that took place, it was named as Traverse Survey. The second survey that took place was known as the Cadastral Survey. And why this survey took place? These surveys took place in order to identify the land in the Chota Nagpur area. Purpose only to identify the particular land of the Jamindars or the tribal people, this survey took place. So you should remember that the first survey that took place in 1902, it was named as the Traverse Survey, and the second survey that took place, it was named as the Cadastral Survey. Got it? Now, CNT Act. So let's go into the detail of the Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act. We have seen the introduction portion of the Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act. Now we will see the CNT Act in detail. Say, the blueprint for Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act was readied in the year 1903 by John H. Hoffman. So this is also a very important point, that the blueprint of the CNT Act was readied in the year 1903, and by whom? So by John H. Hoffman. It came into force in the year 1908, and precisely on which date? It came into force on 11th November 1908. And the Santhal Pargana Tenancy Act of 1949 that we studied in the earlier class, it came into force on 1st November 1949, and CNT Act came into force on 11 November 1908. These points are very important from the examination point of view, and you should remember these things. Okay. Now, this act was cleared by whom? So it was cleared by the Governor General of India, Lord Cornwallis. Okay, by Indian Council Act Clause 5. Okay, so this is also very important fact, that a question will be asked to you in the exam, that who was the Governor General of India when CNT Act was passed? So Lord Cornwallis was the Governor General of India during that time. Okay, and CNT Act, it has 19 sections in total and 271 clauses. Okay, so there are a lot of clauses uh, under the CNT Act of 1908. And yes, one more important fact that you should remember, that Santhal Pargana Tenancy Act is applicable in the area of Santhal Pargana, that is the 6th northeastern districts of Jharkhand, and the CNT Act is applicable in the rest of the districts of Jharkhand. Okay, this is also a very important point, that they may ask you that in which areas CNT Act is applicable and which area Santhal Pargana Tenancy Act of 1949 is applicable. So you must know this. Now let's see some of the important points under CNT Act of 1908. Okay, see, in 1990, by the 66th Constitutional Amendment Act, section number 8, section number 10 and section number 18, they were brought under the ninth schedule. We have also studied under the SPT Act of 1949 that by the same 66th Constitutional Amendment Act, except clause number 53, the other clauses were brought under the ninth schedule. Similarly, in the CNT Act, by the 66th Constitutional Amendment Act, section number 8, section number 10, section number 18 were brought under the ninth schedule. So this fact becomes very important from the prelims perspective. Okay. Now, the next important point is that under ninth schedule, law can only be amended by parliament, judiciary cannot intervene. Okay. I think most of you know, if you have studied the polity chapter, then you know that what happens when anything is brought under the ninth schedule. Okay, but I think recently, by the order of Supreme Court, anything which is brought under ninth schedule, it is it can be subjected to judicial review. Okay, now ninth schedule is not like an opaque thing and in which judiciary cannot intervene. Okay, so that you should also know. Now till now 26 amendments have been done in the CNT Act, and last amendment was done in the year 1995. And this is also a very important fact, that till now how many amendments have been done in the CNT Act? So till now 26 amendments have been done under CNT Act, and the last was done in the year 1995. Okay, now clause number 46, it says that restriction on transfer of land of ST to the non-tribal. Okay, that is restriction on the transfer of land of ST to non-tribal. It is given under clause number 46. Now in clause number 49, it is said that earlier ST land can be acquired only for industries, mineral exploration and related works, but by 2016 amendment, government can acquire the ST land apart from industries and mineral exploration for basic infrastructure, railway projects, transmission line, etc. That is, clause number 49 said that ST land can be acquired only for three purposes. That was industries, mineral exploration and related works. But by the 2016 amendment, now government can acquire the ST land. ST land, that is the land which is belonged to scheduled tribes. Okay. Apart from industries and mineral exploration, they can acquire for the basic infrastructure, railway projects, transmission line, etc. Okay. Now clause number 71A, it also says that now ST land will not be transferred to non-tribals by giving compensation to scheduled tribes. And clause number 21, it says that land should be used according to traditional practices. This is given in clause number 21. But in 2016, our government brought amendment under which landholder can change the nature of the land. That is, agri land can now be used for industrial purpose, construction of shops, houses, etc. Okay, that is what happened, that in clause number 21 it was mentioned that the land should be used according to the traditional nature. Okay, that is, if there is an agricultural land, it should be used for the purpose of agriculture. If any school is there in that land, then that land should be used for the purpose of schooling only. But in 2016, government brought an amendment to the clause number 21, and it said that now the nature of the land can be changed or it can be altered. That is, if there is an agricultural land, it can be used for industrial purpose, construction of shops, houses, etc. But again in 2017, our government brought an amendment and took the 2016 amendment back. That is, nature of the land cannot be changed. Okay, and so the conclusion for this, whatever we have studied in this lecture, is that overall we require such an amendment which can protect the interest of the tribal people, and at the same time it should contribute to the Jharkhand's progress. That is, whatever land act we bring, it should take care of the interest of both, that is the tribals, as well as it should also contribute to Jharkhand's progress. Okay, so this was all from the introduction portion of the CNT Act of 1908, and in the next lecture we will see some of the other land acts of Jharkhand, and after that we will go into the detail of the CNT Act. Okay, so this was all for today's lecture. Keep revising, keep enjoying. Till then, thank you.